Our Olive is maybe one of the better known stories of this collection, actually. There's been quite a lot of work done documenting the life of Olive Gibbs. And I think that's deserved, actually. I think she's someone that, particularly as like a working class resident of Oxford, is a real champion, a real figurehead, someone to be really proud of. She was the second ever female mayor of Oxford. She was one of the founding members of CND, which is a campaign for nuclear disarmament, which is now a global movement. What many people recognise as the peace symbol is actually the CND emblem. Again, coming from really humble beginnings in the city, in the parish of St Thomas, which for centuries it was a notorious slum. Coming from very humble beginnings there to becoming mayor of the city, to becoming one of the founders of an international peace movement, it's something I feel really proud of, and definitely it was one of the first names on my list of like, this is someone who I want to celebrate. This is a story I want people to know. Yes, I mean, so many things to be proud of. About Olive Gibbs, the impact that she had on the city. She was kind of one of the leaders of the campaign that eventually got the Cutteslowe walls knocked down. The Cutteslowe walls were an area of Oxford called Cutteslowe, and there was some social housing built there, and next to a kind of more affluent area. And the residents of the more affluent area didn't want to have to see the people in the social housing. So they built a wall across the road. And that wall stood very controversially for decades. There was a Canadian tank driver, I think, in World War II, who was so disgusted by it that he drove his tank through the wall, and it was then rebuilt. But it was Olive Gibbs and her husband who kind of eventually were the people who got it knocked down. Interestingly, there's been a bit of graffiti done across that same road in Cutteslowe in recent years that says the Cutteslowe wall still stands. Meaning that, although the physical wall doesn't stand, there is still this divide in Oxford between the haves and the have-nots, between the town and the gown. And it still has a big impact on the city. But Olive Gibbs was, one of the people who brought about a key moment in that history of the wall coming down. I love rebels. I'm a bit of a admirer of rebels. Maybe I'm a bit of a rebel myself, and I think Olive Gibbs was one of those people who was just a natural rebel, a rebel from the start. She held the record for detentions in her school, and went on to be someone who never kind of stuck to party lines on anything. She believed in doing what's right and representing the people who voted for her. I've been lucky enough to talk to some people who met her, and she was just described as a salt of the earth, genuine, down-to-earth character, who really just loved the people she represented and wanted to stand up for what's right. I think that's worth celebrating in any context. I think her connection to St Thomas particularly is shown by the fact that she was born in Christchurch Old Buildings, went to school across the road, and is buried in St Thomas Church, just down the road from there. So spent her whole life really in that parish, but not in a kind of colloquial sense. She is very much interested in international and national affairs as well. That speaks for itself with the founding of CND, but also other things she was involved with as well. Olive Gibbs, known as our Olive for good reason. She really was ours. She was one of the people of the town and stood up for us whenever she could and whenever it was needed. So really proud to be able to celebrate Olive Gibbs.